I've been practicing Wing Chun for nearly 30 years, and one of the observations I've made over those many years is that when students demonstrate their forms, the quality of the form diminishes as they go along. So say for example the first form. Very often they'll do the first form really well, they'll get to the end, and the end will be quite weak or mistimed. And if you think about the whole idea of the end of the first form is filling the void, is actually timing your hands 1, 2, 3 and making sure the two hands move together. So one of the observations I've made is quite often students get towards the end and they really get that wrong. And it's not necessarily because they have the inability, it's because of the way they're training their forms. So the tip of today is how to train your forms, how to improve them. The answer is break it down into its component parts. So rather than training the form from beginning to end, you actually focus on specific aspects of the form. There's various forms in Wing Chun, the first form, the second, the third, the dummy, the knives, the poles and so on. Whichever form you're focusing on, it all has a general idea, theories, concepts, energies even, but you focus specifically on those sections. So rather than training the form from beginning to end, you train on one aspect. So let me give you an example. The first section, for example, of the first form. Rather than just focusing the start of the form, you can focus and work on just bringing the elbow in and repeating that movement. So what you're working on is the idea of drawing, using your energy to get your elbow in and keeping to the center line, rather than moving on and moving to the second section and the third section. Another way of looking at training your forms is to actually look for the links, and this is something I would then generally advise for more experienced students that have been training a lot longer. So look for the links between the various forms, the first form, the second form, the third form, the dummy even, but they're all linked together, and I'll give you a classic example. That would be bong. So in the first form you have the bong, and you drop to tan and you hit. Okay? In the second form you have the idea of bong, drop to tan, bong, drop to tan, bong, drop to tan. In the dummy form you have the same idea here. So therefore what you can do is put those movements together in one single training session, drill it one after the other, one after the other, one after the other repetitively. And what that will do is it will develop your ability to focus on very key specific parts of your hand movements, which has a benefit. So on closing, tip of the day, break your form down into component parts. Don't worry about training from the beginning of the form to the end of the form. And what I want you to do is try it, train hard, and believe.